cop pulled me over and I called 911 and lied to get out of jail. Well, saddle up and shine your shoes because this is a pretty crazy ride. When I was 19, I was running late to work in my tiny POS economy car, and on fumes of gas, I didn't come to a complete stop on a right turn. Lights behind me, so I pull over. I know I barely gotten any gas at all and was almost to a gas station, hence why I rolled through the stop a little, trying not to have the call die. At the time, around 1995, a new digital phone had come out called Voicesteam, now T-Mobile, and their whole big thing was phones were digital and not cellular. They were the first phones with caller ID, and one of the big things the salesman had said over and over was since it was digital, the signal could not be triangulated or traced. Not that I cared, but it was stuck in my mind. Well, as I give the cop my license, registration, and insurance card, I got an idea. I knew if I was late to work, I was going to lose my job. They were super strict there. So I get an idea and run. I hand the papers to the cop, and he's walking back to his cruiser. I called the 911 and told the operator I just saw a guy with what looked like a shotgun walk into a 7-Eleven. That was about 2 blocks away. I confirmed the address, then I hung up. About 30 seconds later, the cops come sprinting to my car and hands me my stuff and rushes and says, "Come to a complete stop next time," then peels off to the next direction of the store. I pushed my car to the gas station that I'd almost made it to and felt pretty pleased with my ingenuity. I was an idiot, and I confess. I don't think I would ever do this because I feel like that is against the law to fake a crime happening, and I don't want to go more deep into some prison stuff, you know? I don't want to make it worse. Do you guys really believe that phone was untraceable? Because like the government does lie to you and they want to trace you. I mean, there's microchips now, guys. If it really came down to it, they would probably be able to find him through the phone because, I mean, it might be untraceable to people who aren't like the police or in the government, but if it came down to it, the cops could find him on that phone. Or do you guys think he could? Do you guys think he could be found? This reminds me of this guy who I thought was pretty clever because he has a prison sentence and he actually died in prison and came back to life and then argued that he's had his life sentence. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, he did die, so he could get out of prison technically. I mean, if that guy was able to use a loophole and argue that, this guy could have done that too, but yet he confessed. So I wonder how he really got out of that. Like, what happened after he confessed? If this guy was able to use a loophole and argue about his life sentence, I wonder, like, since this guy kind of got his way out of being pulled over, how would he get himself out after confessing? Like, did he come up with something? What happened to him? What do you guys think? Even though I don't technically agree with what he did because it wasted time and resources for the police, and he did confess after all, which was just a complete waste of time overall, what would you guys do? Like, what have you guys heard that is a way to get out of situations like this? Have you heard any stories, or is there anything you would come up with that's pretty clever to do? The top comment is by Simon the Cruncher. He said, "I once got out of a ticket because the cop got called into another scene. Not my doing, but I was sure thankful. Thinking it was in luck there." Simon the Cruncher, I'm on to you. You might have been the same guy and you're just lying again. So we're waiting for your next confession. In reply, Sinji said, "I once got out of a ticket because someone else sped past and nearly hit a cop in the process." Speaking of that, I saw the worst thing yesterday. So this guy on a motorcycle was driving. He went in front of me and then he sped up to a stoplight, hit a car in the corner of it, and his whole body flew from the left side of the street to the right side, and he wasn't wearing a helmet. And the next thing we saw him was like he was under another car and his foot and his leg was just like twisted around to the other side. And I found faith in humanity because a lot of people ran out of the car to help him, and I didn't know what I could do to help him, so I just feel like I would just make it worse by like screaming and be like, what's wrong? But I know what's wrong, but I really hope he's okay. If he's listening to this, I'm sorry. And also wear a helmet next time, please. Or just please do not ride a motorcycle again. Caveman's Laveman, whatever that means, said, "I once got out of prison time, most likely because a cop got a call on his radio. He was in the process of searching my car while me and some friends were heading to PCB for a senior trip. He smelled weed when he stopped us for a seatbelt violation, and we gave him a 20 sack of weed that we had been smoking and told him it was all we had. He didn't believe us. He had about a quarter pound of MJ and about 20 times pills. drugs. He was literally climbing to the back of the excursion to open our suitcases when the call came in and he got out. And he said he better not catch us with drugs in this town again. He took the $20 sack and a box of cigars and let us go. I don't know. How long ago? Oh, it was only 5 months ago he said this. I wonder what state he's in, because like I wonder how much of a crime that is. And also, if you're doing that, you should watch the show Prison Break, because it's pretty, like, there's pretty good tips on how to break out of prison. Like this guy in the show put a whole map on him on his back he tattooed it of like the whole layout of the prison. It's like a map. So like before you're doing that, make sure you learn where the closest prison to is of you, or like where you think you would go, and tattoo that thing on like your back or your stomach or something. Just a little advice. Hit Me Pat says, I once got pulled over for passing a double yellow line, no passing zone. I was guilty. From where he was parked, the cop only spotted me from finishing the maneuver, but not the first 5-10 seconds when I actually went around the other car. I just told the cop that the other car had put his blinker on and pulled partially into the shoulder, and he waved around to pass him. Not true. The other driver was long gone by then, so the cop couldn't ask if that was what had happened. He believed me and let me go with a ticket. That is pretty clever. He basically just manipulated the cop and got out of it. But then again, he could have had like a really mean cop or a cop that wouldn't believe him. So he was pretty lucky to have a cop that was like, oh, okay. But then again, that's still breaking the traffic law, because if someone waves to go around you, I don't know. And also cops nowadays have like camera dashboard things, so he could have like went back and looked at it, but it's probably just too much work. And also Purple Balls 69 sorry, I shouldn't said, I once got out of a ticket for obeying the law. That's pretty wild. In conclusion, it might not be worth it to lie to a cop and get yourself out of something, because it could make it worse and you could be an idiot. Drop a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.